The phone rang at 2:14 a.m. Not my husband's ringtone, an unfamiliar number. Hospitals never call with warmth. "Ma'am," the voice said, careful and clipped, "we need you to come in." I stared at the ceiling while the room breathed around me. The house smelled like his cologne and the lie I'd rehearsed before he left. "I'll stay in. I'm tired." He'd nodded, distracted, already halfway out the door. 4 hours ago. 4 hours later, the world rearranged itself. I dressed slowly, deliberately, the kind of calm that arrives when something inside you snaps cleanly instead of breaking apart. On the drive, every red light felt accusatory. Every green light felt like permission. I thought about the policy number I'd memorized, the beneficiary line, the quiet math of grief converted into solvency. I told myself not to hope. The emergency room smelled like disinfectant and regret. A nurse checked my name, then hesitated, just long enough. That pause told me everything before the curtain was pulled back. I was ready to see my husband broken. I was not ready to see him. My lover lay there instead, pale and shaking, his eyes wide with a terror I recognized. Not fear of pain, fear of what had been done, fear of who had done it. The room tilted, not from shock, from clarity. I had believed in balance, in careful lies that canceled each other out. I told myself I could love two men without betraying either, because love, when justified often enough, becomes a system. My husband was order, predictable, a life insured down to the decimal. My lover was heat, reckless, temporary by design. I kept them in separate rooms in my mind, separate calendars, separate truths, until the nurse said quietly, "The other man." He refused to give a statement. Other man. The phrase echoed. I replayed the last conversation with my husband, how he'd asked, too casually, where I was going, how his eyes lingered a second too long when I said I'd be home early. I'd mistaken restraint for trust. Denial is efficient. It wastes no energy on imagination. But details began to surface. The way my husband had started locking his phone, the way he asked about my friend with a tone that wasn't curiosity, but inventory. I stood beside the bed and watched my lover avoid my gaze. His hand twitched when I spoke my husband's name. He knew. So did I. But knowing isn't the same as accepting, not yet. I became methodical. I pulled phone records under the guise of billing errors, matched timestamps, crossed locations. Patterns emerged, clean, brutal lines connecting nights I'd lied to mornings my husband had gone silent. I visited the house when I knew he'd be out, opened drawers, found nothing obvious. He'd always been meticulous, too meticulous. I requested the incident report from the hospital, redactions everywhere, but not enough. A neighbor's statement, a camera across the street, a time window that closed perfectly around my lover's arrival. Still no confrontation. I cooked dinner, asked about his day, watched him eat like a man who had already made peace with something irreversible. Inside me, a storm gathered, but I kept my voice level, my smile intact. Strategy requires patience. The insurance adjuster confirmed what I already suspected. The policy would not pay out, not under these circumstances. Intent matters, she said. I met my husband's eyes across the kitchen table and slid the printed report toward him. No accusation, just paper. "Do you recognize the address?" I asked. He didn't touch it. His face didn't change, but his breathing did. A fractional hitch, the kind you only notice when you're no longer in love. "You went there," I continued, "not to kill him, to punish him." Silence. I leaned closer. "You didn't do it for me. You did it because he knew something you couldn't control." That's when he looked away. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I forwarded everything, to the police, to the insurance company, to his employer. Facts only. No emotion, no narrative. I visited my lover one last time. He tried to apologize. I stopped him with a raised hand. "This isn't about us," I said. "It never was. The power wasn't in leaving, it was in understanding." My husband called that night. His voice finally cracked. "We need to talk," he said. "No," I replied. "You needed to think." Then I hung up. I don't visit the hospital anymore. I don't answer unknown numbers. The house is quiet now, empty in a way that feels intentional. I sold it, moved somewhere smaller, cleaner. I sleep without rehearsing lies. Betrayal didn't break me, it clarified me. I once believed control came from secrecy. I was wrong. Control comes from knowing when the truth no longer needs you and walking away anyway.